So I came across an article yesterday by Steve Watson, and he's talking about an interview that was done with Colonel Richard Kemp in the UK. And he was talking about how he's predicting a civil war. And he goes into some details about that, which I'm not going to really get into too much because it's not going to be relevant to what I want to say. But certainly we're in a stage where there's increasingly social unrest, political unrest in the UK, and the elite. And he did say that the politicians are not going to be willing to do anything about it, and that's what we're at right now. And this will continue to be the case because the problem is in the West, one of the problems is that the elite are insulated from the problems that they're creating. So their kids don't go to the same schools. They don't have the same health care as the general public. They don't have the safety concerns. They don't have the financial concerns that the general public has. So they're just free to make whatever decision that they want. That's not going to come back and bite them in the rear end. But there is one point that I really want to talk about. And he's implying that the problems are being made on accident, essentially. I mean, he doesn't say it that way, but that's what he's implying. And I've heard this before, and actually it's not completely false because there is an element of stupidity too, of incompetence and stupidity. People actually drink their own Kool-Aid in elite circles. Based on my own personal research and observations, I believe that is partly the case. And that's especially true for the lower level minions, people that actually are working in the government. They actually believe in these far leftist causes and this, what's the word I'm looking for? Nihilistic. They believe in their own nihilistic philosophy that is being handed down to them via the intellectuals in the university systems. So that's definitely part of it, but you couldn't tell me that you would go as far as they have. They're trying to push transgenderism and import Islam into these countries at the same time. I mean, yeah, that's nihilistic. Yes, that follows into that nihilistic philosophy where the 2 + 2 = 5 kind of thing. But there's a degree of malevolence in this as well. You know, it's not what he suggests that Mr. Colonel Richard Kemp is suggesting that this is completely accidental. Part of the agenda is that they want you to be poor on purpose. They want you to be poor because they want people that they can control. Islamic peoples from these third world countries are much more easy to control because their central principle, their ethical principle is submission, right? Allah is all about submission. So these people are submissive to government, to police state, and that's where they want to take things. You got to remember, Britain was becoming a police state before they really en masse imported the third world. They were becoming a police state before the far leftism was being pushed. See, Britain was becoming, they had cameras set up back in the early 2000s. They were putting cameras all over the place. They took people's guns away before that. Okay, so this is decades in the making. There is a cabal of elites that have been pushing the West, trying to destroy the West. And they've been doing it in each country a little bit differently because that's what you do. You market, to people differently to buy your products. And this has been going on for decades, okay? The far leftism is both a cause and a symptom of the problem. And it's an important one. Intellectually, that's giving the fuel to the fire. But the cause is intellectual. It is the nihilism that originally came out of Germany in the early 19th century, late 18th century with Immanuel Kant. And it's also just people that want to suppress, productive people. They don't want to have to compete with productive, intelligent people. So that's the cause of all this. Now, what's going to happen in the UK, I don't know. This is a population that's largely disarmed. So I don't know. When he talks about civil war, I'm not sure how that's going to work. In America, that would be more possible because you have a heavily armed population. Granted, the military and the establishment has a lot more firepower, but come to think of it, the only way I could see that happening is if the military joins the public. And but I mean, even then, the military is pretty small in the UK. I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. Maybe a lot of street brawls that could very well happen, and I think that's just around the corner in the UK. So we'll have to see how that unfolds.